Mr. Trump,
Yes,
are you Batman?
I am Batman.
Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns was a controversial interpretation of Batman's character, to say the least. And for a variety of reasons, I think he was making a prediction about where our society was headed. Spoiler alert for those who aren't familiar with The Dark Knight Returns. The 1986 graphic novel, later adapted into a two-part animated film, portrays Bruce Wayne in his twilight. The Batman has been retired for 10 years, and in the intervening time all but forgotten. Gotham and America at large has fallen into decadence and disrepair. The Gotham City Police Department is now mostly staffed with rookies, and only the aging veterans remember the Batman's activities. Commissioner Gordon is nearing retirement, and a gang known only as the Mutants have plunged Gotham into a state of unease. The politicians seem to have washed their hands of the situation completely, at best paying lip service to the media and the variety of issues faced by society, and at worst, personally enabling the decay. The populace have become apathetic to society's greater problems. One night, while flipping through the TV news stations and overwhelmed by the reports of violence committed by the mutants and street thugs, Bruce is inevitably reminded of the murder of his parents. Experiencing a flashback, he finds himself unable to escape his alter ego and once again dons the cowl, not just with renewed determination, but a newfound sense of brutality. Harvey Dent has seemingly been rehabilitated at Arkham Asylum, having undergone reconstructive surgery to restore the symmetry of his face. The asylum doctors declare him mentally healed, but upon release from Arkham, he immediately ducks supervision. The very same psychiatrist who rehabilitated Dent, Bartholomew Wolper, has also been assigned to the Joker, who has himself been held in Arkham for years. On the night of his first return to the streets, Batman shocks Gotham by going on the warpath, even killing some of the gang members who stand in his way. Among the citizens he rescues is a young girl named Carrie Kelly. Although she's only a high school student and far too young to remember Batman's past escapades, she's overjoyed to see the bat signal in the sky the following night. The next day, the mutant leader issues a statement threatening Commissioner Gordon, vowing to personally kill Batman and declaring that Gotham belongs to the mutants. The city officials respond with hand-wringing and stumble to keep their statements in line with the increasingly polarized opinions of the public. Meanwhile, Wolper has been advocating Two-Face's innocence. He claims that Batman is the real criminal, using his villains as proxies for his own psychosis in textbook oppressor-victim power dynamic.
You see, it all comes down to this Batman fellow. His psychoerotic behavior is like a net, trapping weak-minded neurotics like Harvey, drawing them into corresponding intersecting patterns. You could say Batman creates his own enemies.
As Wolper makes these statements on a late-night talk show, the Joker happens to be listening. Harvey Dent has returned to calling himself Two-Face and attempts to stage a bombing at the Gotham Life building in exchange for ransom money. Batman successfully thwarts the attack, only to discover that Dent hasn't been rehabilitated at all. His psychosis runs so deep that he believes the doctors were playing a cruel trick on him, that they had made his face symmetrical in the sense of disfiguring the other side instead of fixing the disfigured side. Meanwhile, Carrie Kelly acquires a novelty Robin costume and begins stalking Bruce.
Mutants, surrender now or be destroyed.
She overhears mutants discussing a meeting at the city dump, where Batman easily defeats the low-level mutant lackeys. The mutant leader nearly kills him, but Carrie intervenes at the last moment and saves Batman's life, leading to the mutant leader's capture. As the public becomes more conscious of the Batman's return, debate breaks out in the news media. While some hail his return as a resurgence of popular sentiment, others smear Batman as a fascist and emblematic of the crime wave itself.
He is a monster, striking at the foundations of our democracy. Where are the principles that make this the noblest country in the world?
Frankly, I'm surprised there aren't 1,000 more like him. People are sick and tired of being afraid. He's taking back what's ours.
Victims' rights groups begin calling for sanctions against the Batman, citing unjustified use of force against criminals. The cowardly mayor agrees to meet with the mutant leader in his cell, where he is consequently murdered by the mutant leader. After Batman arranges a sting in which he publicly defeats the mutant leader in front of the remaining mutant gang members, inspired citizens and ex-mutants begin taking to the streets and fighting criminals as well, calling themselves the Sons of Batman.
The mutants are dead. This is the new face of the law. We are the Sons of Batman, and Gotham's criminals are about to enter hell.
It worked.
Wolper takes to the air again and declares this to be evidence of his previous
Batman
statements.
with an insidious excuse for the most violently antisocial behavior.
The public division continues to grow.
I'm tired of hearing about him. Why can't he just let things go, the way the rest of us do? We count too.
So a bunch of psychopaths turn on criminals instead of the rest of us, and you want to blame Batman?
Concerned with Batman's activity, President Reagan dispatches Superman to warn Bruce that there will be consequences if he continues.
I can talk to him, but
I'd just hate for things to get out.
do you even remember why you retired?
I remember.
Look, either shut it down or one of these days someone with authority is going to tell me to come stop you. And when that happens,
may the best man win.
After their meeting, Superman is sent to secure the island nation of Corto Maltese from a Soviet invasion force, which threatens the U.S. military's presence there. Dr. Wolper has bargained for the Joker to appear on a late-night talk show in order to publicly redeem himself. In truth, the Joker is using the opportunity to stage a large-scale attack in which he kills Dr. Wolper, the talk show host, and the entire studio audience using Joker gas.
So long as you won't miss it.
Batman tries to intervene but fails to prevent the attack thanks to the interference of the new police commissioner, Ellen Yindel, and the Gotham City Police Department. Joker leads Batman on a chase across the city, ending in a confrontation in which Bruce mortally wounds his nemesis. Bruce muses out loud,
All the people I've murdered by letting you live.
Joker taunts him by saying,
I made you lose control. And they'll kill you for it. See you in hell. Before apparently breaking his own neck in a final act of defiance, an attempt to incriminate the Batman. Meanwhile, Superman easily defeats the Soviet forces at Corto Maltese, but the USSR launches a nuclear missile in a last-ditch effort to strike back at the US forces.
And some bad news. The good news is that our brave American troops were victorious in Corto Maltese, and the Soviets have completely withdrawn. Bad news is, well, looks like those Russians are some mighty sore losers.
Superman manages to redirect the missile's flight path, but inadvertently causes it to airburst in United States airspace, triggering an electromagnetic pulse that knocks out the power grid nationwide. The ensuing without rule of law scenario allows Bruce to bring the Sons of Batman under his control and restore order through non-lethal means.
Tonight, we are the law. Tonight, I am the law.
Deeply embarrassed by the loss of governmental control, President Reagan orders Superman to remove the Batman. With the help of the former Green Arrow's shooting skills, Batman is able to outsmart and publicly defeat Superman and go into hiding with the Sons of Batman, with the intention of continuing their war against crime. So, what does any of this have to do with Trump, you might ask? Here's what I mean by Frank Miller making a prediction about the course of the West. Although crime in our world is not at an all-time high, public sentiment seems to have trended towards a lack of national cohesion and public trust. Our own police are fearful of the criminals they're supposed to apprehend. Despite how politically polarized we are, the majority of the populace just doesn't seem to care, or worse, are enablers of the corrupt political establishment and aristocratic mainstream media. That same political establishment and media aristocracy rationalizes the decay, capitulates to the enemy, excuses the corrupt figures involved, and hurls defamatory rhetoric at anyone who challenges their narrative. Instead of making change or listening to the will of the people, the authorities stick to the same failed strategies, and the man who wants to restore public trust and rule of law is derided by the media and public intellectuals as a menacing authoritarian, whose ideas and methods are unworthy of consideration. Ironically, Frank Miller himself was actually called a fascist by real-life social justice types who didn't like his portrayal of Bruce Wayne, and despite Carrie being one of the only characters who's shown to go against the social grain or take charge of her situation, Miller was also called a sexist for his portrayal of Carrie as the new Robin. This is in spite of all the respect she earns from Batman by showing herself willing to take charge, put herself on the line, and never back down.
She apparently has some serious internalized misogyny, just like women who support Trump in our world. But perhaps the most important parallel between Trump and Frank Miller's Batman is that both Trump and Batman are just gateways to something greater, stepping stones to the future. Batman and Trump are both delusional in a sense, believing that there's still enough good left in their respective worlds that they could somehow personally lead a restoration. But in truth, neither of them can do it alone, or even do it within the existing social paradigm. Their true success is in inspiring people with a vision beyond what Trump or Batman can do alone, fostering a movement that will extend far beyond what they can personally achieve. The Batman needed a total unmasking and subsequent collapse of the corrupt power structure in order to truly make a difference. The whole mess had to fall over before it could be reformed into something better. And whether Donald Trump wins this election or not, I think that's where we're headed.